Hello everybody from Dublin, Ireland once again, and once again I am taking a train from Dublin's Connolly Railway Station, but I'm not heading west this time, oh no, I'm heading south down towards Rosslare on a journey that's going to take just over 3 hours, and some people say that this is the most scenic railway line in Ireland. Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Please join me, we're going to head down to the station and I'll see you on the train. Yes, I've covered Connolly Railway Station a few times before on the channel, so I'm not going to say much about it on this video, although I did use a different entrance this afternoon, just off the main street outside, and that leads you down a bit of a tunnel, then up the escalators to the main concourse as usual. Our service today was the 13:28 to Rosslare Europort, leaving from platform 5 and timetable to take 3 hours and 4 minutes, calling at 13 intermediate stations along the way and eventually arriving at Rosslare Europort at 16:32. I made my way past the gate line towards platforms 5, 6 and 7, which are the through platforms at Connolly. It's a short walk here and then it's up a few steps and out onto platform 5, most of which is protected from the elements by this lovely platform canopy here. And as you can see, my train was due in after the dart service to Greystones, so I had a few minutes to kill and ended up walking to the northern end of the platform and making the most of the nice weather. And I'd certainly picked a great day to do this trip. And the dart service to Greystones came and went, and then it was time for our service to Rosslare, a 3-car class 22,000 diesel multiple unit, an intercity rail car, or ICR as Irish Rail call it, 22306. Well, as per usual, I was standing at completely the wrong part of the platform, and by the time I got to the nearest doors, most of the waiting passengers, who did know where to stand, had boarded the train. And we left slightly late, 4 minutes behind schedule, heading south but crossing the street north of the main station building, which you can look back on here. It's then straight across the River Liffey with the Custom House on the north bank here, and we're pretty much stopping again at our first station, Tara Street, where a lot of people boarded the train. And it's only another minute or so to our second stop, Dublin Pearce, Ireland's busiest commuter station and second to Connolly in terms of overall passenger use. Well, it's no surprise then that even at this early stage of the journey, the train is already quite full. Right then guys, we are underway, and I tell you what, it's quite a busy train this. I wasn't expecting it to be this full, but I've managed to get a table seat on the right side, the left hand side. Heading south, and that's going to enable me to get some really good views of the coastline a little bit later on. And the weather's not bad either, looking out, and yeah, so hopefully once we get out of Dublin the scenery's going to improve, and yeah, we'll be well on our way by then. Catch you in a bit. Yes, to be fair to Dublin, there are some sights worth seeing as we make our way through the suburbs in a southeasterly direction, including the impressive Aviva Stadium here, which replaced the ground I remember as Lansdowne Road. There is a station here named after the latter, but we're not stopping at the ground on this service. Instead, we press on to the coast, and today there are some lovely views across Dublin Bay, and you may be able to make out Irish Ferries Isle of Inniscorthy heading into port this afternoon, having travelled all the way from Sherborne. Would you like to see me take this route? And let me know in the usual way, but unless anybody wants to take me in their truck, it'll have to be on the WB8, as I think the Inniscorthy is a freight-only service. Dún Laoghaire. The train announcement gives our next station as Dún Laoghaire, a place name that brings back lots of memories for me. And I recall arriving here on the ferry from Holyhead. I think that would have been Sea-Link and then Stena Line, but yeah, maybe even B&I at some point. I would love to hear your recollections of the port. For me, well, I thought it was really convenient with the quick and easy rail connection into Dublin, but it's been closed for what must be 10 years now at least. I wonder whether it'll ever reopen as a ferry terminal. Again, let me know in the comments below. After Dún Laoghaire Malin station, the guard came onto the PA telling everyone what they couldn't do on board and also mentioning that there would be no catering. Now, I've said this before, but on a train with a journey time of 3 hours plus, surely someone somewhere could make some money from providing a trolley service, whether that's Irish Rail or somebody else. And whilst I got the impression that there were a lot of long distance commuters on this train, there were also quite a few tourists, including myself. So I think the provision of some on-board food and drink would have been a good idea. Anyway, preempting all this, I'd brought some refreshments with me. The prerequisite bag of potato, cheese and onion crisps, Irish version, a Snickers and some water. And that would do for me, but yeah, I'd recommend stocking up before the journey if you're going to be going all the way. There are some beautiful views of White Rock Beach here as we crawl along towards and through Killiney. And the first part of the journey is a mightily slow affair. Maximum line speeds between Dublin and Bray seem to fluctuate between 30 and 60 miles per hour, but it took us 46 minutes to cover this first section, which I reckon was roughly about 15 miles. Yeah, that works out at around 20 miles an hour. Not a train to be on if you're in a rush, that's for sure. Anyway, the view's made up for that. We're just coming into Bray now with its pretty harbour, contrasting with the graffiti-covered line-side equipment as we come into Bray Daily Railway Station itself. And opened in 1854 with 2 platforms currently in regular use, we're approaching platform 2 with this fantastic and distinctive pyramid-style roof. And note also the series of paintings depicting the station's history running the length of the back wall here. On our departure we pass another couple of trains here in the sidings to the south of the station. We've been travelling on electrified double track between Dublin and Bray, but from now on it's single track only, although still electrified at this point. Ironically, we did seem to speed up a bit after Bray, hugging the coast and passing through the tunnels between here and Greystones, which on a day like this is absolutely breathtaking, isn't it? For me, it's very reminiscent of the Cambrian coastline in Wales, south of Barmouth really, which is also single track. If you get the weather, both lines are absolutely spectacular. We pass through a series of tunnels known as Brayhead Tunnel number 1, Brayhead Tunnel number 2, Brayhead Tunnel number 3 and, you've guessed it, Brayhead Tunnel number 4. And some of these tunnels, well, they're quite short to say the least, but they're still very necessary, aren't they? We're a fair height above sea level really, and as with all these lines built in such difficult terrain, it's real testament to everyone that designed and built the railway back in the 19th century. As you can see, the train is still very busy and mainly table seating with some airline style seats at either end. The other 3 seats in my area had been occupied since Dublin Pierce, and it would be quite a while before I could show you much of the interior in any detail, to be honest. And I did think that maybe a few people would have got off at Bray, but evidently not. And it took us an hour to reach Greystones, opened a year later than Bray in 1855. And I thought it was a lovely little station this, with its palm trees, paintings of notable people from the area. I reckon that's the guy from the Dubliners there in the middle, and also a massive mural at the end. And Greystones is the southern terminus of the Dart electrified rail network, and just south of the station here you will see the end of the overhead lines. We've stopped at Kilcool here, although sitting on the left hand side of the train heading south, all you will see is a fence and a bunch of rocks. The single platform on the other side has limited facilities and it's a 20-minute walk to the village. One of the least served stations on the network apparently, and second only to Rosslare Europort in the 2024 rail census in respect of daily boardings and alightings. It does have a great beach though, and yeah, another one of these places I'd love to get off at if I was planning to spend the whole day travelling up or down the line. Yeah, I was really enjoying the views across the Irish Sea on this glorious afternoon, and it wasn't until we reached the outskirts of Wicklow here that the line began to turn inland. Crossing the River Vartry, we arrived into Wicklow Station at 14:45, 3 minutes late, where we met a northbound class 22,000 train here on platform 1. We're making use of the passing loop on platform 2, and not many people got off, and yeah, I was still sandwiched into my seat. Maybe everybody was heading for the ferry today. Some lovely countryside here as we cross the River Avonmore just outside Rathdrum, another stop with a passing loop. And not a particularly interesting station this, I didn't think, and it looks like there's some work being done on the platform here. Well, I took the opportunity to try out the Wi-Fi, which you had to register for but was excellent, with YouTube playing nicely and other social media websites loading up well. We run through woodland alongside the River Avonmore now for quite some time. I extricated myself from the seat as I needed a bit of a stretch and decided to check out the toilet. A really good clean area this, with baby changing facilities as well. Plenty of toilet paper, soap was available, water and air dry works absolutely fine, no problems at all. Just as good as the Wi-Fi really. Well done, Irish Rail. Oh, I've just come out to use the toilet, as you just saw, and just having a bit of a break in the vestibule area. Talking to a chap there who I'm assuming lives in Dublin or thereabouts, and he was saying, yeah, in respect of the train being really busy there, a lot of people are commuting in and out of Dublin, and they have to live quite a distance outside Dublin because of the affordability of housing. So yeah, that kind of partly explains why it's so busy, and plus I get the impression there are quite a few tourists on the train, including myself of course. So you know, how long this lasts I do not know, but surely not everybody is travelling as far as Rosslare Europort, are they?
Shortly be arriving at our club. Please mind the gap. Thank you for travelling. You're there.
Yeah, we were running alongside the River Avoca next, heading back towards the coast, where stands the town of Arklow, County Wicklow. Another passing loop here, and a fantastic barrel-roofed signal box perched behind the footbridge. Lots of people got off the train here, though unfortunately none of my immediate neighbours. So once we got to our next stop, Gorey, I just pretended to get off and moved up the train instead. It was much quieter there, and yeah, I was finally able to stretch out a bit. Bloody hell. We just left Gorey, and yeah, quite a few people got off, which was good really, because I moved seats. I couldn't take it anymore. Honestly, the guy behind me, he was like, he just would not shut up. It's like, there's from what I can gather, two American tourists sitting opposite this guy. They probably just want a nice peaceful, day out in the countryside on the train. And this guy's like, what goes up but doesn't come down? What's brown and sticky? It's like, nobody cares. And it's like Father Noel Furlong, from Graham Norton's character on Father Ted. Honestly, I've just had enough at that point. So yeah, I seized the opportunity and just moved one carriage down. So yeah, we can have a good look at the seat now, and I can show you one or two more features of the train. Okay, we've got about an hour to go, I think. My brain's fried a bit after that. But yeah, about an hour to go till Rosslare. So the seats then, well, in front of you in the airline style seats anyway, you have the flip down table here, a very good leg room in the priority seats, but as you can see, the normal seat is not too shabby either. A great connectivity that worked. We have conventional UK style plug sockets with twin USB ports next to that. There are hinged armrests to the sides and between these seats in the expected 2-2 configuration carriages. There's no first class space on this service, by the way. Above your head is good sized small luggage storage with dedicated large luggage racks here near the vestibule. The seat itself, well, it felt very durable, plenty of height too. It was comfortable enough for this 3-hour plus journey, and don't forget, I've been sitting at a table seat for the last couple of hours, and whilst I had needed to get out and stretch my legs on one occasion, the seat itself had been pretty comfortable, with plenty of legroom under the table, absolutely no problem at all. And here's an example of one of the table seating layouts in this much less crowded carriage. Also, I just wanted to mention the windows. They were clean, and it makes such a difference, doesn't it? There's many a time I've been trying to film a journey through dirty windows. A ScotRail and Caledonian Sleeper in particular take note. But this train had been cleaned inside and out, and it makes such a difference for all passengers, especially on a line as scenic as this one. Again, hats off to Irish Rail for actually bothering to take some pride in their trains. Enniscorthy next. Did you notice the lovely engine shed and signal box as we came into the station? And as we leave, I spot the massive and impressive building on the hilltop in the distance. Opened in 1868 as the Enniscorthy Asylum, it became the Enniscorthy Mental Hospital in the 1920s and St St Anne's Hospital in the 1950s, before closing in 2015 after a 30-year period of decline. I wonder what will happen to it next. The sky has turned a little greyer as we make our way further south. After Enniscorthy, we run alongside the ever-widening River Slaney as it makes its way to the sea, and we make our way towards Wexford, the county town of County Wexford of course, with a population of around 21,500. Now there's not that many people left on the train now, and most of those that are still on it get off as soon as we reach the station. Opened in 1872, there is just the single platform here on the right hand side heading south, plus another passing loop. And the station, well, it's a fairly nondescript affair to be honest, but the real draw for train enthusiasts in this town is what comes next. We leave the station at a snail's pace, and quite understandably too, because our train is about to start running along the quayside. We have the normal road here on our right, and we will run parallel to that, whilst on our left we've basically just got pedestrians, who are not travelling much slower than us to be honest, trees, benches, and the various fishing boats moored up at the quayside itself. It's a strange but wonderful experience, and not something that you get to see in many places these days, well certainly not in this part of the world. I'd guess the maximum line speed is just about 5 miles per hour, but for very obvious reasons. It's a real highlight of the trip this, and worth staying on the train just for this part alone. But not many people do, when it's very quiet now as we pass the Crescent Quay with its statue of Commodore John Barry, the 18th century Irish-born American naval officer who stands looking out to sea and of course watching the trains go by. Back on our left, and we're just about managing to overtake some people out for their afternoon stroll. And although, as I said, it's a strange experience being on the train, it's probably just as weird if you happen to be walking along the quayside at the same time. We run through a level crossing here, and that pretty much marks the end of the excitement as we begin to pick up speed again. Just a quarter of an hour to go now until our final destination of Rosslare Europort. Before that, we're approaching our penultimate station on the line, Rosslare Strand, which opened as just plain old Rosslare in 1882. Now, prior to reaching the platform, we passed the junction for what was the old section of line between here and Waterford, and that closed to passengers in 2010. And I believe the line is still maintained by Irish Rail, and there are currently plans to reopen it. And I must say, this would make such a difference if you're heading into Rosslare from France, Spain, or even South Wales, because you can reach the west coast via Limerick Junction without the need to take this 3-hour journey north into Dublin first. Okay, I guess like most of these situations, there were so few passengers using the line, it just wasn't viable to keep it open. But times change, and since 2016, and we all know what happened then, Rosslare Europort has been rapidly expanding. You'll see this in a minute with the amount of buildings going up, but yeah, it's certainly changed since I was there last. In my opinion, the ambition of the port needs to be matched by the infrastructure of the railways, and not just for passenger services, but for freight as well. I believe the port itself is operated by Irish Rail, so I would imagine there's quite a lot of joined up thinking going on. Yeah, the sooner the line to Waterford is reinstated the better, I reckon, but do let me know what you think in the comments below. So here's some of the massive buildings that have been going up around the port, and I think these are all to do with customs inspections and the like. And over in the distance here we can see that there's one ferry in at present, Brittany Ferries, MV Cotentin, waiting to depart on the 2000 overnight sailing to Cherbourg. Now I wonder who'll be on that later on. Anyway, we finally reached the terminus of Rosslare Europort Railway Station 106 miles and 3 hours and 4 minutes after leaving Dublin Connolly. This relatively new stop replaced the old station in 2008 and is located on the former station's turntable sidings. I grabbed my bag and disembarked the train. A quick word on the price then. I paid €9.99 for this adult single advance ticket all the way from Dublin, and that's not bad value at all, is it that? There's not much here, to be honest, apart from this single platform and a massive steel fence. Then, as you leave the platform, you're funneled between two massive steel fences and onto the road, where you can turn right towards Rosslare itself or left towards the port. Guess which way I was going? Yeah, it's about a 10-minute walk to the terminal building along a decent footpath. Before that though, there's a lovely long beach where I stopped to admire the views for a bit and just took a couple of minutes to summarise the journey. Right guys, Rosslare Europort and the Stena Nordica there just behind me coming into port after crossing the Irish Sea all the way from Fishguard. Well, I'm not here to take that, but I have had a lovely journey down here with Irish Rail. I asked at the start of this video, is this the most scenic railway journey in Ireland? Well, I think it is, and that's my opinion. I've just been talking to Rob, actually, the driver of the train, and he would second that. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Have you been on this trip yourselves? Would you do it after watching this? And the train itself, yeah, okay, well, it's a slow old trip, isn't it? But the train, absolutely no problem with these diesel multiple units. I've been on a few now. Yeah, they're clean, tidy, nice friendly guard. The toilet's absolutely fine, and the Wi-Fi is excellent actually. And the price I paid, well, it is definitely worth it for a 3-hour journey, isn't it? Like I said, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I can catch you on another adventure soon. I'm sure I will. And until then guys, as always, cheers for now.